today we were just going to begin our blogging process with a SWOT. So looking back at our last year's blog in year 12 and thinking about what we can take from that experience to make this year's coursework most successful and effective as possible. So starting off, looking back last year, what was our strengths, do we think?
So firstly, when we started, we were told to keep on top of posts, and that's what we done. So from the get-go, we designated posts and did them as quickly as possible to make sure that our blog was full with them. So when we started filming, we would be ready to film and wouldn't have to worry about going back to doing planning posts, and we'd be straight onto filming.
And I also think that our blog was good at documenting a journey through our process. So we started off with all the planning and the thinking about looking at the conventions of a thriller. So this year we think we'll start off with the blog post, looking at the conventions of a music video, so we have a full understanding before we go into filming, so we know what we're doing. And then obviously then we talk about the filming, and we documented our filming process, and then led on to the evaluation. So I think our blog was quite successful at showing the journey and documenting everything that we did on the blog.
So also we used our time effectively. So for example, when we were filming, we had everything set up and knew what we were doing, and we weren't just going into it not knowing what we were doing. We planned it and knew exactly what we were filming, so that saved time massively.
Yeah. Also, I think in terms of the blog, we experimented, because it's our first time with a blog, and we wanted to make it as media rich as possible. We were experimenting with a lot of different softwares and programs online, so like Wordle or Emaze and Prezi. So I think we're definitely this year using the blog. We're going to take some from last year, so things like, what did we like? We liked Prezi and Emaze a lot.
Yeah.
But things like, what was it? Voki.
Yeah.
We learned that we sometimes last year used softwares that because they were new to us, we'd use them, and at the end we'd create our blog post, and then we'd have no way of exporting it, or we'd find out you couldn't embed it or something, or you had to have a membership. So I think this year we know which ones to use and what ones not to use, as well as learning about new softwares that might be available, so we're constantly making our blog as interesting as possible. Also, I think we can take a lot of things from our past experience in terms of improving this year. So one of the things that this year is probably going to be an issue for us, well, not so much of an issue because we can learn, is that one of our team members took largely the editing role. We all kind of use things like iMovie at different points, but in terms of the main editing of the thriller, it was somebody else's role who's not in our group anymore. So I think this year we're going to have to really learn, because obviously music videos are a lot more challenging to edit too, with all the cuts and the lip syncing. We're going to this year have to learn about the editing and get to grips with different softwares.
Yeah. Also, I think from last year we learned you definitely need to be decisive when you're making your decisions, because it does use up a lot of your time if you're... So for example, when we started we had a different idea, and then a few weeks later we decided to change our idea, so that consumed time because we were changing little things, and then we had to edit our thing to make sure it all fitted. And so this year we need to have a clear idea what exactly we want and make sure that we do it, and then save time.
Yeah, I think we need to plan what we're going to plan our cuts more as well, because before we went into filming and we kind of were just experimenting with different shots. We need to storyboard it out, know what shots, what things we want to do, so we make sure that we use our time effectively, so we have most time to edit, because editing is, like I said before, is going to be a lot trickier, because obviously there's a lot more cuts with a music video. And the lip syncing before, we didn't have any dialogue in our thriller. We had coughing that we had to match up, but obviously there's a lot more lip syncing, so we need to learn how to match that up with the music and timing.
Yeah, with this year as well, we need to allocate jobs. So as Robin just said, we don't have the member on our team anymore who did the editing. So we need to like allocate who's going to do the editing, who's going to do the filming, who's going to be in the video, and that will like save time again because everyone knows what they're doing. No one's like confused with what they're doing.
Everyone's pulling their weight.
Yeah, and yeah, we'll just get things done quicker, and we'll have more time to edit at the end because it is such a long process of doing the editing because it's such a longer video and more cuts.
So I do think we are going to take a lot from last year's experience, and
Definitely.
hopefully it will make sure that our final bit of coursework is going to be as successful as possible. Thanks.